Hello all, and welcome to another Last Epoch build. My name is Bobo, and today I have a Frost Necromancer for you guys. But before we go into the build, a huge thank you to everyone who likes, comment and subscribe. You guys are awesome. So, the Frost Necromancer build. This is a very beginner friendly build. You really don't need any gear. Your strength comes from your minions and from your talent tree, and it's a really simple, really fun build to play. So for spells, we are running Summon Skeleton, Summon Volatile Zombie, Summon Bone Golem, Summon Skeleton Mage, and Dreadshade. But let's start with the passives. For passives in Acolyte, we have 8 points in Forbidden Knowledge for Intellect and Necrotic Resistance, 7 points in Stolen Vitality for more vitality and increased minion health, and 5 points in Dark Ritual, so our minions will have more attack and cast speed. This also applies to us for 10 seconds when we use a minion skill, and we're gonna be using volatile zombies constantly. Then we go into Necromancer. We have 8 points in Risen Army for increased minion damage, increased attack and cast speed, 4 points in Elixir of Hunger. Whenever we use a potion, our minions get 10% attack and cast speed for 10 seconds. It's really not bad. We get some Reclamation of Souls. This point is, I got this point because we're using Volatile Zombie as our main skill. So our Volatile Zombie will constantly be dying, and we get ward, and we get ward gained on minion death. So this make us a little bit more tanky. Then I put 1 point in Blood Armor. This is more of a travel, but we get increased health regeneration, which isn't bad. 5 points in Mortal Tether. We get increased minion health. It's really good, but this is more of a travel path because we want Unbound Necromancy. This will give us an extra skeleton. Then I've put 1 point in Dark Retribution. 1 point is enough. What this does is whenever one of our minions dies, we have a 4% chance to summon a Skeleton Vanguard. We can get a maximum of 3. We won't have 3 of them all the time, and it will take a while before we summon all 3 of them. But this 1 point enough will give us 3 Vanguards eventually, and they will be there because they're pretty tanky. They are more of a meat shield and projectile blockers. Then the strong part of the tree, always when you're doing a Necromancer, you want to go 20 in Acolyte, 25 points in the first part of the build of the tree, and the rest of the points will be spent in the final part because this is where the good stuff is. We start off with 3 points in Tyrant. We get increased health and the minions get reduced health. This is more of a travel point because we want the Tyrant's Legion for another skeleton. We take enough points in Frenetic Summon and before we can move to the next one, so probably it's 2 points. This build, you see, I've maxed out the points basically, but do them as travel. Try to move the faster you can to the end first. So here with Frenetic Summons, we get increased minion attack speed and increased minion cast speed. We get it also for ourselves, but we don't really care about that. We get River of Bones. This is a really good talent. We get increased crit chance for our minions. We get that when they crit, they leech some health, which is really good, help them keep them alive. We get Heresy, Intellect, and Crit. Again, really good. And we get Blades of the Forlorn, I think. It gives them crit multiplier, which is extremely good. You want multiplier because this will increase our damage by a lot. We need a lot of multiplier. It will basically be our main source of damage. We want to crit a lot. And then we get Moonlight Pyre. Our minions will get some base damage. We are going Frost, but it doesn't really matter because our spell, although there will be freezing, they still get the bonus damage. And the minions mostly have increased minion damage, so that 10 to fire and 10 to necrotic will get all the buffs from the increased minion damage, which is again really good. Base damage is always good. Right off the undead, we get necrotic resistance, elemental resistance, and so do our minions get increased necrotic damage, which honestly does nothing, but it increased minion elemental damage, and that will buff our cold damage. And we get 1 point in Disciplines of Necromancy, which give us another skeletal mage. When you're filling up your tree, make sure you get this point first. For skills, we are running Summon Skeleton, Summon Volatile Zombie, Summon Golem, Summon Skeletal Mage, and Dreadshade. Our Skeletal Mages, they are our basically our small minion killer. We turn them into archers, and they will be shooting a bunch of arrows, a bunch of volleys, to kill all the trash basically. So 4 points. At first, you want to put 2 points in Necrotic Conviction, which gives the archers a little bit of damage, but you want to use it as travel point at first, 2 points, and then 1 point in Hollow Walkers, so you get another skeleton. Then put 2 points in Unholy Rage for attack speed, cast speed, and movement speed, and 1 point in Marrow Walker, so you get another skeleton. Then fill up Unholy Rage, get Lone Guardian, so we get increased crit, but more importantly, we are limited to only 1 warrior, so we can have more skeletons, archers, because archers, we just want archers basically. 1 point in Fire Arrow, so our archers will gain the ability to use Fire Arrow, which throws a Fire Arrow. We give it multi-shot. We just need 2 points. 2 points are enough because they will start shooting 5 arrows and the cooldown will increase by 2 seconds. If we put another point in it, yes, we will be shooting 7 arrows total, but the cooldown will increase even more, and with just 5 arrows it's enough to clear out everything. Remember, we're gonna have a lot of skeleton archers, so we're gonna be shooting a lot of arrows anyway. I turned it into Frost, and then I removed all the warriors, so we get Ice Arrow, so it turns into Frost, and then we get Mightier Than the Sword, to be so that the warriors are totally removed. This will make us only summon archers when we use our summon skeleton. After you get all of this, start going for the, basically here we want impatience, so we get increased cooldown recovery speed, which will make our archers fire more volleys. Their main damage is the volley. They don't really do a lot of damage with just a normal arrow, but the volley is really good to clear out the trash. So then we put another point in Necrotic Conviction that puts us up to 3, 1 point in Bone Armor, and 4 points in Impatience. Bone Armor, we're not gonna be using it. It's a travel point because we don't have any warriors. And Impatience, as I said before, will reduce the cooldown for the volley, so they will start shooting a lot. 120%, it's more than double what they are supposed to be shooting. They shoot a volley every 5 or 6 seconds cooldown, so 8 seconds in total, and with Impatience it will be shot every, like, a quick math, like every 3.5, 3.6 seconds, I don't know. But it's more than double. And the last point, I've put it in Necrotic Conviction. Next we have Summon Volatile Zombie. A Volatile Zombie will be on our mouse, because we will be spamming this ability. You can have a maximum of 6 Volatile Zombie, and the way they work, they run up to the enemy and explode on them. We're gonna spec them in a way to give them a vomit attack, so they will vomit on enemies and shred their armor. And we are also gonna make it in a way that when they explode, they will give us sword, making us more tanky. So the way I spec'd it, I went 1 point in Path of Destruction. It increases the explosion area, but it's a travel point. We went for Necrotic Fever. When a Volatile Zombie explodes, we get 0.8% health from his max health. So if the zombie has 100 health, we will get 0.8 of it. So it's not really very much, but eventually it will add up. And also we have the passive to get ward when our minions die. 1 point in vital ward, that the amount healed doesn't get us healing, but we get it as ward. So when the zombies start exploding, we start getting ward. And then I went 1 point in Army of Rot, giving them a poison chance. We don't really care about their damage, even though it's pretty good, but we care mostly for this one. We get the 1 point in Vomit, so they vomit on enemy rather than just explode instantly. And then we get Corrosive Guts. This will give armor shred per second by 200, so it will shred 2 points of armor per zombie per second, which add up to a lot. Basically, we will reduce their armor by a lot, and every other minion will deal more damage to them. I put 4 points in Wretched Innards to give the Vomit 160% extra damage. These are more of filler points, because again, we don't really care about their damage. I went 2 points in Forceful Commander, which makes us summon them cheaper and summon them faster. 1 point Travel in increased stun chance, we're not gonna use that, and 2 points in Ravenous, which will hit harder against bosses and rare enemies by 60%. And then I put the last point in Fever for damage and move speed. Summon Bone Golem. They changed the Bone Golem recently in the 0.9 patch. Now he really looks like a werebird druid. He's really strong, and yeah, he's really cool. So I went. At first, you wanna get 1 point in armor, so this will grant armor to all nearby minions. He's a buffer, and he's really good at dealing damage. 5 points in Cold Vengeance, so he will hit harder, and he has more chance to chill the enemies. 1 point in Death Chill Golem, which will turn our Golem into a Frost Golem. He'll deal cold damage. 1 point in Breath of Formus our Golem spells have now additional spell damage and base freeze rate per point of vitality, so we want to get a little bit of vitality also in our armor. And yeah, I went for 1 point in the Taunt. We don't really need this, but we want Fragments of the Fallen. Our Golem has increased size and deals more damage, and if no other Golem is living, and your Golem has significantly higher armor for the first 15 seconds of their life when summoned near the corpse of another Golem. So basically, if our Golem dies and we resummon it, he's gonna have a crap ton of armor, making him harder to kill. So if we're on a hard-hitting boss and he kills our Golem, our next one will be way harder to kill. And also, he basically has a little bit more size and 25% more damage if he's the only Golem. And then I went 2 points in Amalgam of Sentinel. It gives him more health, more armor, and more health and armor as a percentage. And 4 points in Unnatural Spirit, which gives all the other minions extra speed. They will be running faster. And then we max out his armor. The armor and the speed are really good buffs. Makes all our minions harder to kill and makes our minions faster. If you think you don't need as many points here, you can just put them in Amalgam of the Sentinels, making our Golem stronger. Next up is Summon Skeletal Mage. This will be our main source of damage. You want to start this with 2 points in Celer Mortis, 2 points in Grey Merchant, and 1 point in Order of the Dead, so we get the extra Skeleton Mage as fast as we can. I went for 3 points in Gravetide, 1 point in Cryomancer, and 1 point in Frostlich, so I get the Cryomancers as fast as I can. I've put 2 more points in Gravetide. Here, honestly, you should get the 5 points in Gravetide first, and then move up the 3, but I just wanted my Cryomancers faster. Then I got 2 points in the extra projectile chance, so I have a 50% chance to throw 2 more projectiles, making them better for AoE. I want my mages mainly to be single target damage, because for AoE we have the volleys from the skeletons, from the normal skeleton archers. So I don't think you should max this with 4 points, but it's your call. After getting 2 points here, I filled out the Stellar Mortis and the Grey Merchant, because these are really good, crit multiplier and base crit. And the last 2 points, I've put them in Argonchutic speed. Basically gives them more cast speed, 10% faster. But if you don't want this, you can go for 4 points in Splinter Dominion, which gives them a 100% chance to throw 3 projectiles. So basically they'll be throwing 3 projectiles all the time. It's really your call. And finally we have Dreadshade. This is the best buff in your kit. It gives us a huge amount of damage. So what that Dreadshade does, you throw it on a minion, it will start eating him alive. Basically eventually your minion will die, but until Dreadshade buff is up, you will have increased necrotic damage and they will deal more necrotic damage. I know we're Frost and this is necrotic damage, but it gives us so many buffs that it doesn't really matter. This is a huge increase in damage. This is the full 3, but I will tell you how I spec'd in it. I've put 2 points in Lingering Doom, which reduces health decay and gives us more necrotic damage. It's base damage, so again, base damage is always really good. Vile Gust now increases poison damage instead of necrotic, and converts added necrotic damage from the base skill and this tree to chance to poison on hit. So basically we're getting poison damage instead of necrotic damage. Pretentious Pat, we will not be decaying health anymore, we'll just get everlasting poison each second on our minion instead. Again, those are all truffle points basically, we just want this one. Egoism, we can cast Dreadshade now has an 18-second cooldown, but our minion always crits, which is really excellent, just 100% crit strike instantly. Then I went 1 point in area, just for travel, 3 points in Dying Coven, so we get increased attack and cast speed by 24%. Grim Fate, we get 100% more area, so the circle around the minion is twice as big, and our minions deal 60% more damage. And then I went for Symbiotic. We are affected by Dreadshade. We don't care about the damage, we just care for this part. We take 1 point in mana efficiency, so Dreadshade is cheaper, it's a travel point, and then we get this one. Dreadshade now grants minion armor based on your vitality, but Dreadshade decays your minion faster, we don't care, the minion is gonna die anyway eventually. But this 25 armor per vitality is really good. We will get a lot of armor from this because we want to get some vitality in our gear, and it will help us increasing our damage, our survivability by a lot. And then we fill out the rest of the tree, so 4 points in Lingering Doom and 3 points in area. And that's the build. Let's quickly talk about the gear. For loot, you go to this website, lastepoch.tanklabs.com, to check what affixes you might want or not want. There's everything here. You just select Acolyte and write whatever you want, for example minions, and you'll get everything for minions. This is the list I compiled. Increased skeleton damage, crit for skeleton and skeleton mages, health for yourself, minion damage, minion health, level of our abilities, intelligence and vitality. You can put these in the quick loot filter. If you don't know how to do it, I'll link a video to it. We can improve that loot filter further, and I'll show you in another video, but that's coming up really soon. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you really enjoy my paint editing skills, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.
Shatter you!